So, Raider Nation, if you haven't heard by now, I'm going to let you know. This is Joseph for Zenny62. So, the NFL came down earlier today and levied fines against everyone who attended Darren Waller's charity event Beyond the Wall. Is this surprising? Absolutely not. But I'm here to talk about a few other things that possibly the Raider organization could have done. Now, it seems when the press conference came out, was earlier this last week, and they had to address it, and they were adamant that the press was picking up on things and they shouldn't be focusing on that. Well, this is the thing. We just recently had a president who came down with the virus, and now the media is telling us that that virus was probably spread at a Rose Garden event in the White House. And why this is relevant with the Raiders is simply this. It was a group gathering with virtually nobody wearing a face mask. If you look at any of the footage or pictures of that charity event, the only people that were wearing face masks were the people that were hired to film and record the event. But none of the participants, as well as guests, were wearing face masks, or the organizers, because there's introduction where they're introducing all the Raider players that attended. The organizers weren't wearing any face masks as they were calling them in. So the reason why I'm making the correlation is that whenever you're gathered indoors with nobody wearing face masks during a pandemic, it seems extremely foolish. Now, right away, the players said, well, we weren't wearing face masks. That's very possible, but up to now, more than a week later, there has surfaced no pictures or videos of anybody wearing a face mask with regards to the players. So if that necessarily was true, I'm sure as a media stunt or a media PR spin, the Raiders would have released those pictures of players wearing face masks. So it is safe to presume that those players did not wear face masks and those pictures do not exist. But as great as the Darren Waller Beyond the Wall fundraiser it is, and I encourage all the Raider Nation to support it if they can, let's take a step back and think about what the Raider organization could have done. And the reason why I say the Raider organization, because they knew of this event ahead of time. They had to coordinate the giveaways, the special things that they gave away at the event that had anything to do with the Raiders. That was preemptively organized by the fundraising committee as well as the Raiders. Now, why wouldn't an organization, an NFL organization, have the forethought to step back and say, well, wait a minute. Why don't we have a virtual fundraiser and get all of Raider Nation involved, and not just those small limited people that were inside that facility or that room? This was a golden opportunity to make lemonade when lemons are given to you. We're in a lemon situation with this pandemic, and it's the way we creatively find a way to make a bad thing better. And this could have been that great opportunity to not only get the season ticket holders involved, but Raider Nation is worldwide. And if the Raiders organize this event in support of Darren Waller, as I'm sure they all are in support of Darren Waller, Raider Nation is in support of Darren Waller. He's an extraordinary human being that's overcome many obstacles. And it's unfortunate that this is an obstacle that's been highlighted for the lack of leadership, and I blame it on the Raiders, because they knew ahead of time that this event was going on. And these are young men that maybe haven't had that life experience to stop and think, well, maybe we shouldn't do this. They're just thinking about the positive things that they want to do. But unfortunately, you have to have somebody in the organization that says, we're full support of you, but let's stop and think about this, because potentially this could be very dangerous. And so now the NFL has fined not only the Raiders $15,000 each, and if you look at the Raiders that it did attend, about 8 players, could be more, but around 8 players that attended. Each one of those players have been fined $15,000. And the sad thing is, the person that they're in support of, and the person who Beyond the Wall fundraising event is for, Darren Waller, got fined $30,000. And that's so unfortunate. This should have never have happened. And even in the press conference, you know, Derek Carr was very, well, I'm just going to talk about this. And he mentioned how his wife hasn't had a chance to go out to dinner. Okay, he said that. So he wanted to take her out to dinner. Second, he said, well, we all signed waivers. What does a waiver have to do with protecting the public? You signed a waiver that if you get sick, that you're not going to sue the fundraising event? What does a waiver have to do with protecting yourself? A waiver doesn't automatically put this invisible barrier around yourself. But that's a ridiculous comment to make, that we all sign waivers. So, what you should have did was all wear face masks. Or maybe not have the event in person. Have a virtual event. Like I mentioned, have a virtual event. Now, why did you choose to take your wife out to a potential super spreader event? And why not take her out, just you and her, to a nice private dinner away from the kids? Because you said, oh, I wanted to get away from the kids. But now you've potentially exposed your children to a super spreader event because both of you had to go back home. Makes no sense. The football players seem to not be connecting their brain cells, because, you know, they have this tough guy mentality. Well, I can beat it. Well, your coach is the ultimate tough guy on the team, right? And he got it. And even that same press conference, Coach Rooney goes, well, we're doing all we can. We're wearing Crush the Virus t-shirts. What does wearing a t-shirt have to do with doing your part about the virus? What you should have did was, if you really care about the players, say no OTAs, because we know every player and every team, it's not just the Raiders. But let's think about this. Don't say you're doing everything you can, and Gruden even said, oh, I'm doing an excellent job. We're doing an excellent job. Well, you got fined already 3 times. You got fined personally for not wearing your face mask. The organization got fined $250,000. And the Raider organization got a second fine for allowing an unauthorized person in team facilities and not wearing a face mask either. So how are you doing an excellent job and then turn around and say, oh, we're doing as best as we can? You can't have both. You're talking both sides of your mouth. You know, Coach Gruden has this mentality, as many do in our country, and the reason why I always make the correlation from Washington, D.C. to what's going on in the NFL is that that's the leader that everybody's looking up to. And many respective NFL players have that same mentality and believe in what the president has to say is 100% correct, that it's no big deal. Well, obviously it is, because now we have the president of the United States suffering from COVID-19. But as an elitist, he's able to get drugs that no one else is able to get if they're sick. So you got to stop and think about that, Raider Nation. Wear your face mask, do the right thing, don't get influenced by seeing other people do the wrong thing. Keep it here on Zenny62, and don't forget to like and subscribe.